Thank you, guys. I will just take a few minutes to tell you what we are all about, and probably it will make sense why we are here. But the key idea is that myself, I'm Samuel Kamochu. I was lucky to be part of the team that started this whole thing called Meliora. So I'm one of the co-founders, and I prefer to call myself a Pacesetter, because the mission of Meliora is to encourage many more people to take up the challenge of being problem solvers in this continent of ours. So Meliora is a Latin word that means in pursuit of better, and that speaks into what we believe in, a better tomorrow. And this better tomorrow cannot become real if you guys are not part of this. So that's why we are here to be with you guys, and together we can make tomorrow better. So if someone asked you to define in an exam what Meliora is, you can say we are a software engineering company that was started in 2015 in Kenya. The idea started 1.5 years earlier, 2014. About 1.5 years to figure out what exactly we wanted to start, but we were sure about a few things, that we wanted to impact our people in software engineering. And this is because myself and the people that came together, we had worked in the telecommunication industry for quite some time. And one of the things that I can confess is telecommunication is one of the spaces that has many companies from Africa being the software providers. So we wanted to change that story. And that journey has taken us a lot of years. We've made some good progress, and we are here to help you guys join this whole journey of to make things better in Africa. So what we do on a day-to-day basis is to equip young engineers. So here we are saying software engineers in Kenya and in Africa. Of course, we start at home with the right mindset. And I would say that some of you might be aware that software engineering is not about writing code. Code is a very small fraction of what you do in the engineering process. We also give guys the right skill sets, the tools that you need to use, and we'll also give you a chance to create products that solve some of the problems in Africa. So that's essentially what we do. So on a day-to-day basis, our salaries are paid through the projects that we deliver for our enterprise clients. And this is done by the young guys who are equipped in this same process. So we take pride in the fact that most of our engineers came fresh from campus. We had put up some processes and structures to ensure that they work in a certain way, they collaborate in software engineering. And that's what we do. We have impacted many people in all these countries. And these are countries where we probably have direct connections to telcos. But there are other countries that we have indirect connections, and we are quite happy. So we've built a number of products. And the key idea here is that this is not a sales pitch. So we are telling you that we've been able to do software engineering and we have delivered products. It doesn't mean that we are perfect or that we know it all. We believe that there is something that we know, and definitely we also believe that we can get better. But although we haven't gotten to the point of perfection, we believe that we can actually share what we know as we get better together. So that's part of the things that we are expecting to achieve as we work together. So we have a huge team. Some of them are techies, others are non-techies, others are full-time, but majority of the people are full-time. And we've created many products, we've served many customers, and we have worked on softwares together, collaboratively. There is no product that is created by one person for the last 7 years. And we've impacted people in more than 12 countries. And we also have a community. I think that number is quite higher now, but we have people that we are trying to impact slowly. And we have over 350 members on our Natujenge WhatsApp group. And you're trying to move guys now to other channels for better collaboration. So we have a lot of value. I'll not focus on this, but we do a lot of stuff in customer engagements, customer experience, value management, and we also do software development, telco, R&D, and we do equip software engineers, and that's why we are here. So we've served many customers in Kenya and outside Kenya, and we've also given these guys good service. So yeah, this is supplier rating for one of the big banks here in Kenya, and they say that we do a good job. Now, why are we saying that? We are saying that so that you guys can also have a little confidence that we actually have something that we can share, and together I know we can actually do something greater. So that's why we're here. And I will stop there as far as Meliora is concerned. Maybe one thing that I will say regarding the bootcamp, and Marlyn will take us, I believe he will take us through the next phase. But the key idea that we have is this. Most of you are developers from the shortlisting that has been done. So you write code. Most of you write code on your own, others write code in collaboration with others. Now, software engineering is a huge process that has so many skill sets that need to be applied. You guys, when you wrote code the first time, you wrote the Hello World, which was a powerful tool because all of us who wrote Hello World in Java, in C, and even the first HTML page that you created gave you a lot of confidence, and you started calling yourself a developer from that day. I know some of you might be looking for jobs, you have skills, you've never created a product. So we want you guys, as part of the bootcamp, if you've never created a product and you've never launched a product, we are hoping that by the end of the bootcamp, you'll be able to go home for Christmas and tell people that this product that is live, I was part of it. So our work is just to facilitate that. In terms of ideas, there are many ideas that can be solved, but our main objective is to ensure that you guys get to see the end-to-end process of software engineering, all the way from understanding the problem that you're fixing, understanding the users that are experiencing that problem, understanding the constraints that affect the solution that you're going to create, understanding the context in terms of what is surrounding the solution that you're supposed to bring forward, understanding the business processes and any other things that you have to be obeyed as far as the solution creation is concerned. And that takes a bit of time. And then later we move now to the designing of the solution and ensuring that you do those modeling, data modeling, requirement modeling. You write code, converting those high-level, low-level documents into now a solution, and you write code, you come up with the different modules. And then once you do that, we'll also show you how to deploy and, package your solution and ship it. If you've never heard about containerization, those are things that you will learn, orchestration, all those things we'll have to study. And at the end of the day, we'll also see what it takes for you to release a quality product. So quality assurance, DevSecOps, all those things will have to be incorporated in that. So if you've had those names, our objective is just to give you a very simple project that will allow you to practice all those things. And if you don't know anything in terms of those areas that we'll study, then please know that we will also guide you so that you ensure that you learn. At a personal level, I love connecting the dots. I know some of you have heard about the website, the web servers, HTTP protocol. Some of you might not know what those things represent. You might have heard about TCP socket, those TCP handshakes, and you've never seen it with your naked eyes. And all these things influence the things that we use today. So my hope is that I can also help you guys in connecting the dots. And this is from a very deep belief that personally I've worked in the telecommunications sector for 13 years plus. and done a lot of work in software engineering. And what I know today, it doesn't matter your age, we can transfer that information to you as soon as possible. And if you do so, then you can probably achieve the things that I've been able to achieve probably at an earlier age. Maybe at the age of 23, at the age of 25, you'll probably be given as a challenge. I mean, it will not be an easy task for us to survive in the industry, because you guys can actually do what I'm able to do. And definitely you can do more because you have more time and more energy than I have. So Marlyn, I hope I've not taken a lot of time, and I hope I've not preempted your conversations or whatever you're planning to say. If I have, please forgive me. And I'll just hand it over to you guys. Yeah, thank you. And I hope I was audible.
Yes.
Okay, so I can stop sharing my screen. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, maybe on chat. And at some point we will answer them, I believe.
Yeah. So anybody with a question regarding that section that Kamochu has presented, you can write it on the chat, and then maybe after I'm done, we can answer all the questions cumulatively. The second
question.
Yes.
Could we maybe have the course curriculum or something that maybe will guide us through, just to do some basic research beforehand?
I think, Marlyn, maybe I can tackle that briefly.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we have said, and I know in my introduction, I didn't talk about what is expected, but I think, Marlyn, you'll probably touch on this. So I've just talked about the objective is for you guys to solve a problem through the whole process. The key focus is on the process. So you're going to learn, we are going to do web development, and this is not putting everything into one module. So we will do a web app. You can replace the web app with an Android app. We'll create APIs at the back, and you'll ensure that you have your data at the back and the interaction works that way. So every week we will be giving you the challenge for the week and the material that you're supposed to look at. But I think as part of if you look at the website, there is an outline, a document that outlines what you're supposed to do each and every week. Of course, this is not cast on, do they say cast on stone or something? It's not something that we cannot change, so we can adjust as we continue. But the overall objective is for you guys to deploy your first product using maybe the technology stack that we'll have selected. Of course, we can adjust as time goes by, but for the sake of mentorship, we'd rather stick to maybe the technologies that we'll have selected. It doesn't mean you cannot apply a different technology though, but for me, if I know C, I appreciate C programming language, I can teach you 1 or 2, 3 things about C, and maybe with the same knowledge, you can extend the same and do the same on PHP. But we'll give you the details of what you should be working on every week. It's a guided learning experience.
Okay, so I will just jump into the session. So I'm sure everybody here is present because of the virtual bootcamp that we're doing. And for those who don't have the entire picture about, I'm not sure, Kamochu really didn't touch much on what Natujenge is, but Natujenge is a community of both professionals, students, and those transitioning into tech, where we come together to learn, share, and connect. And we have been conducting bootcamps and hackathons throughout this year. So this is the last bootcamp for 2022, and we are hoping that we will finish this year at least on a high note. So what is the Overcome Your Fear bootcamp generally? What is it about? So this is a bootcamp that was created to help engineers see the full of how, or have the full experience of engineering from the front end view to the back end, so that you have a whole experience. Because we have engineers who say, oh, I'm a front end engineer, or I'm a back end, I'm a networks engineer. So they really don't get to experience what an end to end engineering process is, or it asks somebody what APIs are, but they'll tell you, oh, I have no idea, because maybe I work in backend, or maybe I do network engineering. So, that is not in my domain. So being part of this process ensures that you get an experience of the entire scope of what software development entails. So the second reason for this is to build up or launch a service or a product. Or like I said, I was telling another group that we are not going to do pet projects like calculator apps or all that. It is going to create a product that can be used by somebody outside there, or solve a problem, a functional service or product. So the next one is we try to provide solutions to real world problems. Just like Kamochu has said, we have products here that basically make money. So in doing this bootcamps or hackathons, we also try to bring that mindset into the projects that we incorporate our community members in, so that they can learn how to solve. That is what software engineering is basically about, using technology to solve or provide solutions. And then we will be able to prepare cohesive teams that can be deployed in organizations. What you're learning here is how people work out there in groups or teams. When you're part of a development team, you're not building a product on your own. You have to take in consideration who is your end user, what are their needs, and even the people you're working with inside that company, can they understand what you're doing? Are you collaborating, or you're working on like a one-man person? In engineering, you can't work as a one-man person. There's so many tidbits that come together to create the entire product. So you need to be able to know how to work with all these people, so that at the end of the day, what you do can like blend smoothly into the entire picture of the company, or what the customer or client wants. So the last one is we are using our processes at Meliora to give or to teach the upcoming engineers. So by giving, we are also learning ourselves. We are looking at it's like looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing, this is something that we are not doing right, or this is a section that we need to improve on. So by bettering young engineers, we're also bettering ourselves. So what will be the focus area for the Overcome Your Fear Bootcamp? Number one, we will be doing requirement modeling. So what is that? That's understanding the problem constraint. What problem are you solving? When I was starting out at Meliora, I was told, before you get down to writing code, you need to understand what the problem statement is. You cannot write code to solve a problem that you do not understand. So you need to understand the problem constraints before you can start to write even one line of code. And then you need to understand the solution context, the interfaces, all these processes that come up and produce this solution. You need to understand that all the parts that make this moving ecosystem. And you need to understand also the business process documentation. Documentation is a very important or key part of development, and you need to understand what does that look like. So then we go to the architecture of the design. So we get from the high level designs and we come down to the low level designs. What does the high level design look like? What is the process modeling definitions of the key processes? What is the data modeling? You need to understand the key processes inside the leveling or the design leveling that comes down to the low levels of what you're creating. And then where every developer likes to jump in, the development phase. You're creating a web app. So you need to know, how do I deploy this? What languages am I using? How do I optimize my product or application or a service? How do I model the data? What is the database looking like? The optimization and the databases, and then creating APIs. You need to secure. Any system needs to have security inside. So how are you going to incorporate security inside your service? or your product. And then that's where the now DevOps come in. You need to understand the deployment and automation. And obviously, before you can give your product or your service to somebody to use it in the market, you need to do quality assurance. You need to do testing. You cannot give your customer a half-baked product, because what does that show for you as a developer? And then at the end of the day, we are trying to solve a real world problem. So you need to understand the problems around you. So these problems, we get them from our partners or within the community, the Natujenge community. And then we come together and see if we can provide a minimum viable product that can be produced or created in 2 to 3 weeks maximum. So some of these projects are being sponsored, like I said, from our partners. So in the past, we have done other projects. You can head over, we have a YouTube channel, Natujenge on YouTube. You can go and see the Natujenge Sigtran Challenge is still ongoing, but it is almost coming to an end. I think we're in the last or the second last week of development work. So you can head over to our Natujenge channel on YouTube and see what we have done. In May of 2022, we had our Unpack the Bytes hackathon, because at the end of the day, all development works or all web development begins with understanding the bytes. Kamochu is very passionate about the bytes, so he is one person who can really get into it if you want to know more about the bytes. So we have conducted these 2 projects in this year alone, and through this we have been able to, look at what is happening in the African tech ecosystem. What problems are there? And will we always be importing the solutions that we want? We have the talent, we have the skill set in Africa. Why can't the solutions to these problems come from one of our own? Why can't we come together and build this? Do we always have to outsource our products or projects or, our solutions? Do we always have to outsource them when we have the talent here to come up with the solutions that we need for ourselves? Nothing racist, but, being able to be self-sufficient begins with being able to have solutions to your own problems. So our human resource, we believe, is the greatest asset in Kenya and in Africa at large. Just how to optimize and make it work for us. That is what we're trying to see, how we can use to our advantage, and unlocking the potential and equipping the next generation of software engineers, which for this cohort is you guys here. So yeah, so what is the work plan? Somebody has asked. So we believe we want to start from the basics, and week 1, we will just be going through Git, HTML, and CSS. Interesting thing while we were going through the applications, and I will not name names. Some people, after the application feedback had been sent, some people were coming to me and asking me, oh, I did not receive an email. Why was I not accepted for the bootcamp? I'm good at CSS, I'm good at Java, I'm good at ABC, PHP. I don't understand why I was not accepted. So I tell them, we were looking at GitHub profiles, what are you doing on GitHub? I want to see, as that you claim to be a developer, you say you are a developer. Let me see what you have done. And they have no projects, they have empty GitHub profiles. So they tell me, no, I have on my drive. And I ask them, if you have 1 million Kenyan shillings, will you keep it under your pillow? No, you will not. You take it to the bank so that it works for you. As a developer, your profile is your first. It speaks for you before you can speak for yourself. So if you have any projects that you have done, it is good to have them up where somebody else can just go there and view it or maybe learn something from you. Yeah, you can make it open source or just show this is what you show. You take to somebody and say, before I tell you about myself, this will speak more about me. So if you're one of the people who has projects on their drive or on their laptop, please put it up on GitHub. So week 1 will be going through the fundamentals of Git, HTML, and CSS. I believe that is what we'll be starting next week. And Wesley will be taking us through that. I believe he's here. He'll be able to speak at the end of this. And then week 2, we'll be talking about containerization, optimization, and being able to host your service on on a platform. So we'll learn about Docker and Kubernetes and Docker Swarm, all that. So Peter will be able to take us through that. He's one of our senior engineers at Meliora. I'm not sure if he's here, but you'll be able to meet him probably next week. And week 3, we'll be talking about data modeling, databases, and APIs. So this will also be done by Peter. He will show you how databases work, HTTP APIs, talk about Springboard, Postman. So you need to have stuff like Postman on your computer and all that, or whatever device that you'll be using, so that you get, the full experience of how all these things work. And then week 4, we'll get into functions, how to make a functional, is it a service or a web app, or, how do you make it work? So this is where we talk about functions. We're going to be using TypeScript and Angular. I believe if you have fundamental programming skills, then transitioning into maybe TypeScript or Angular, if you know JavaScript, transitioning into these two will not be a big problem for you. So we will be using we are not going to have different projects for each week. We will be using the first one you're going to create starting next week. That is what we'll be using week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and then week 6 and 7, you get into an entire solution hackathon where you're building your products to be optimized in the 2 weeks, and then there'll be a presentation in the 8th week. So week 5, you'll be modeling a real world problem. Here you'll be taken through by Kamochu. You will be talking about the intricate details of how a product or service works, from login to the end. You're traveling. It's like what do you do when you want to start a journey? You pack your bags, you have to make sure that your clothes are clean. So all these things, you will be looking at them in the sense of when you're coming up with a real world solution to a problem. You look at all the edges to make sure that you've covered all the bases. So you'll be doing that in the 5th week, doing the designs, the process modeling and all that, so that in the 6th and 7th week, you're using all the processes and data modeling that you did in week 5 to sit down in your groups, decide on, the details about, what font do we use, what goes where, to create the product. You come up with a product. That takes 2 weeks. So you will be given 2 weeks to do this on your own. The design and the specification you will have done in the week 5. So you sit down and do the development work in your groups in the 6th and the 7th week. And then the 8th week, we are hoping will be showcasing the final products that you will have done to the world. We're hoping that we'll be able to share this with a larger group, maybe our partners. So yes, it will be 8 fun weeks of coding and learning. So how is this going to be done? Is it a one-man show? Do we send all of you out and tell you, come back next week, we want to see what you've done? Is it an exam where everybody gets points? I doubt that. So here we'll be doing guided learning. This is to say, you're not doing this on your own, really. The learning is personal, but there's a point of contact in case you get stuck. So the learners are meant to do their personal research. That's why somebody who had an empty GitHub repository was not, we had a bit of raised eyebrows, because what have you been doing on your own before this bootcamp? Yeah, we need to see the self-drive from you. So that is our first pillar of Natujenge, is we do guided learning, but the personal drive has to come from like somebody themselves. So we will be giving you resources, and then you send you out there like disciples. You go learn on your own. When you get stuck, there'll always be somebody here to help you. And then there'll be a lot of collaboration. Even at Meliora, we do a lot of pair programming and collaborative work, even in coding. That is how most companies, I believe, work, from the top, the FANG companies to, other companies down here. There is a lot of collaborative where you have to, explain your code to the team, and, about pull requests and peer reviews and all that. So that is what we'll be doing here too. We'll be using collaborative sessions to come together and build our product. So I believe anybody who is taking part in the sessions will have to know how to use Gitflow and GitHub. That's why GitHub was an important resource that we were looking at, if somebody has or knows how to use. So every week there'll be tasks that you'll be needed to finish weekly. And by the end of the week, there will be presentations. And we are hoping that by the end of that week, during the presentations, the teams will have satisfactorily done or completed the weekly tasks. Any team that will not have done that will be required to repeat the week. You'll be given another task, and we are hoping that given the other week, you'll have ample time to learn what you're supposed to learn, collaborate together, and do something better. Yeah. So that's why availability is very important. We don't want you coming to this bootcamp, yet you're not available 5 out of 7 days of the week. You are inconveniencing everybody in that team. It's not a big team, and everybody, I believe, should be able to pull their own weight. In as much as we are all learning, you need to be able, if you've agreed from tomorrow that person A does this, person B does this, everybody needs to be able to put their own weight. At the end of the day, at the end of the 8 weeks, you need to really also sit with yourself and see, I have attended 8 weeks of this bootcamp. What have I come out of it with? Yeah. What did I learn? So we are hoping that everybody will be able to, just pull their own weight in the projects that they will be doing. And then we'll be having mentors. I'm sure in the sheet that you were checking your group, you saw somebody like a mentor assigned to you. Some of them are here. I'm hoping that they'll be able to introduce themselves at the end of it. So every group, at the moment, not all the groups have mentors. I'll see a way to look into that, but I'm sure you can share mentors. So every group has been assigned a mentor. A mentor is just somebody who also is keen on learning, by the way. Then we didn't pick people who are like, I'm sure they are very familiar with what we are doing here, but they're also learning. So you can just go to them if you have a question, or you are in need of an answer for something that you're doing, or you're just starting out and you need some guidance. So that is what the mentors will be for the different groups in this bootcamp. And then the last one is, I've stated this, there'll be presentations every Tuesday afternoon. We are hoping that if you're in a team or your team is presenting at a particular time, you don't let your team down and you're present. And if you're not, this is where effective communication comes in. If you understand that this week maybe I'm having something, life happens, you need to be able to communicate that very well to your team beforehand, so that I'm not calling team one and there's nobody because person A was supposed to present and suddenly they have no lights or they were not present for whatever reason. Now everybody is just there looking at each other, wondering what's going on. So yeah, there'll be a lot of, like Kamochu said, not just about writing code. There's a lot that will be going on here in as far as communication and collaboration and presentation skills go. So we are hoping that it will be an all-rounded learning session for everybody, and that it will be fun as you learn. So yeah, eligibility, we have we were looking at somebody not very precise with what you know, but as long as you had the ability to, you were doing something, yeah. As long as we saw you had done something, or you have the capability of learning or the spirit to learn, then yes, you are eligible for this bootcamp. And I think that will be the end of my presentation. So I'll just iterate a few general pointers. I'm hoping that throughout the 8 weeks, there'll be everybody's learning path is different. So what person A can learn in one day is not what the other person can learn in the same period of time. So I'm hoping that everybody in your teams will be gracious enough. I know we have deadlines, but I hope you'll be gracious enough with your partners to understand that people's learning curves are different and you can teach each other. Somebody doesn't know something, make it a safe space so that they can come to you and learn. And I'm hoping that because it's a mixed, or we are different people from different cultures and different backgrounds, you will be respectful. Yeah, you will be, if there is any problem, any sort of, you feel like somebody is targeting you on maybe orientation level, gender level, kindly reach out to me. And yes, let's be good people. And I hope that this will be a very great session for everybody, and all of you can learn. So happy coding, and I will welcome any questions before I will maybe ask the mentors to introduce themselves. So thank you.
Maybe Marlyn, as you said, I think I didn't mention about the Natujenge, but I could share maybe one slide to strengthen the point.
Yeah.
I just discovered that, yes, I didn't cover the full scope. So as I said earlier, one of the things that I believe we have in plenty is the human resource. Our human resource is much has more potential than even the natural resources that we have here in Kenya and in Africa in general. And why am I saying that? Over time, I think our brother from Nigeria can confirm this. I think Nigeria probably is beating us on this game. But you find that the amount of dollars that come into the country every year is way much higher than the amount of dollars, the amount of dollars that come in from human resources that are probably working or consulting for countries outside, other countries, not Kenya or not a country in Africa, is way much higher than the amount of dollars we are getting from our tea exports. So one of the things that we need to note is that we have a lot of resources, and it can only get better. The world is becoming a global economy. And having said that, I also acknowledge the fact that we have so many people. Like, let me speak of the case of Kenya, where we have very many young guys joining campuses, doing IT-related courses and technology courses. ICT, whether it's engineering, computer science, computer technology, information technology. I hear there are even courses like business in IT, there is business computing. All those courses allow us to become problem solvers as far as technology is concerned. But the biggest challenge is that when you get out of campus and when you get to the job place, to the workplace, things are different. So we are trying to ensure that we allow a first-year student to actually appreciate what happens in Safaricom, in KCB, in GT Bank, in EcoBank, or any other organization that you may know. So if today you're building a tax calculator, you can do it the way you want, but how would Safaricom team or KCB or Cooperative Bank in Kenya build the same thing? So the idea is we just want to show you how they build these things, having worked there and build solutions for these organizations. So the whole thing about Natujenge is because we got to a point where the code I used to write a few years ago or 10 years plus ago is not the same way I write the code today when I'm serving our customers. The thing is, there are things that we've been able to connect that you guys had not connected. So what we believe is that in Natujenge, whatever the experienced people know, they need to stop a bit and share that information with the people who are behind us. So it's about promoting that culture of sharing. So how do you promote it? You start by sharing yourself. And if someone is impacted, so all of you, if you'll be impacted, we expect you to pass the baton to the other person, or you pay it forward. So we ensure that we bridge the skill gaps. I have gotten a lot of you guys, some of you are here, and the first time they're asking you, what is that container? What is Docker? What are these images you're talking about? What's even the English meaning of the word orchestration? So some of these things don't make a lot of sense to you. Or even when you talk about APIs, what is it? So we want to make those things make sense for you guys and ensure that you get to a place where you can actually work for NCBA or any other organization that you prefer. We also believe in democratization. I know some of you are in school and you're not getting enough money to pay for your meals. So we don't want you to pay $1,000 or even $10 or $100 for you to learn this. We believe in sharing to as many people as possible. As long as you're committed, we will be there for you. Of course, it's about collaboration, so we have to work together. And we've been working together. Even in doing these things, we have to come together and see what we can do. I think some of you who are part of the previous session, we are trying to build the first SMSC. If you've ever sent an SMS, the system that handles SMSs in the telco network is called the SMS Short Message Center. And that system, we have tried to build one from Kenya or through collaboration with some of you here. So the whole thing, the spirit of Natujenge is we are responding to our national anthem that calls us. And I know we have people who are not, who are from other countries, but maybe one thing I would like to remind you is that our national anthem has a Swahili phrase that, or a sentence that says, Natujenge taifa letu ndio wajibu wetu. So we believe that our primary responsibilities as citizens of either our countries or our continent is to build our country or continent. And we are doing that by sharing, we learn, we connect, we become friends. I'm sure by the end of these 8 weeks or 10 weeks, I'll have created new friends. And those friends together, we can actually create things. We can work on projects, we can work on solutions. And we ensure that that works together. So basically, we are trying to help you connect with, we are trying to bridge that skill gap. We are trying to ensure that you are fit for the market. And we are doing so by using the people in the industry. So it's not a Meliora thing. It's an industry thing. And probably you'll confirm that by the time you are finishing the 8 weeks, you'll have worked with people from many organizations, not necessarily people who work in Meliora, whether it's Safaricom, whether it's KCB, whether it's Cooperative Bank. All these guys will come and they will support you in the same spirit of building our nation and our continent together. So that's it. And the others, Marlyn has already mentioned, the people that we've impacted, and I hope that works together. So if I may just say a few little things as I conclude, is that we are giving you the power to read, as Marlyn has said. I know some of you get the power to read after graduating, but in this case, we will be giving you things that you'll study. For those of you who know HTML and CSS and you're experts, we will ensure that we encourage you to study other things. If there is an area where you feel like the HTML challenge, you finished it in one day, you can actually ask the mentors or ask Marlyn or myself, and we can help you by ensuring that we share what you need to learn. Maybe you have never built an API in Java, you don't know Spring Boot. We can guide you now, so that by the time we get to week 4, week 3, you're able now to create your own API and connect all these things. So we'll also have guest presentations to come and help us do that. As I said earlier, is we are trying to ensure that you guys get to create these products the way enterprises would do. And by doing so, then it means that if you finish your studies and you go to work in those organizations, then you'll probably be better than most of the candidates will be looking for an opportunity. So that's it. And with those very many words, I pass it over to Marlyn so that we can now probably look at the question and answers. And maybe Marlyn, you can also mention on the Slack, the communication, so that we don't miss out on the communication.
Communication will be really done on Slack. So I hope you can regularly check in to see what's going on in there. If your team decides to take communication out of Slack, then that will be a collective agreement between the 5 or 6 of you. That's fine. But communication from myself or the team will generally be done on Slack. So make sure to drop an eye there once in a while to see what's going on so that you don't miss out on stuff like the weekly meetings on Tuesday. I hope to see you guys tomorrow at 10. See you there.
Bye.
Bye and thanks.